Okay, we're going to do chapter 4, test review. And since test will not be multiple choice, so make sure you write everything down when you write your answers. It's not going to be where you pick the right answer. 5 squared means 5 times 5, right? So if you put this or if you put 25, either one, then that would be okay. 5 times 5, or if you put 25, if you would have had multiplied it out, either one of those answers would work. 3x cubed, that's pretty obvious, you need to separate it out, right? Means 3 times x times x times x. Evaluate, negative 3 to the 0. Okay, look at these two problems right here. The difference is one of them has parentheses. The negative is inside the parentheses, this to the 0. Okay, anything to the 0 is what? The 0. Oh. Anything to the 0 is 1. Okay? On number 3, okay, this one, your negative 14 is to the 0. That's just 1. If you have a negative number to the 0, this 0 exponent only goes to the 3. It doesn't go to the negative sign. So this is like negative times 1. Like the opposite of 1. This one, the 0 part, the exponent, went to the negative and the number. So this is just 1. This one is negative 1. Okay? M to the 4, where m is 7. So you have 7 to the 4th power. Go ahead and evaluate it. Don't just write it like this. You need to go ahead and do 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. Which is what? B? 2401?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, x to the 8, I'm sorry, x squared minus 8. X is negative 3. Okay, you have x is negative 3, so you have negative 3 squared. And then minus 8. Negative 3 times negative 3? 9. Minus 8 is 1. 4 to the negative 3. Okay, if the exponent's negative, you need to put this on bottom. So it'd be 1 over 4 to the 3rd. 4 to the negative 3rd is 1 over 4 to the 3rd power. Okay, go ahead and multiply 4 times 4 times 4. 64. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So your answer is 1 over 64. Okay, negative 3 to the negative 4th power. Okay, that'd be 1 over, this only gets rid of this negative right here. 1 over negative 3 to the 4th power. When you do that, it only changes the exponent to positive. Okay, so we have 1 over negative 3 to the 4th power. So you have 9 times 9 is 81. That's going to be positive, right? Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. So it's a positive 81. 1 over 81. Not negative. Okay, same thing here. When you put 1 over, it doesn't change the negative here. It just gets rid of the negative in the exponent. 1 over negative 4 to the 3rd power. Okay, this negative here wasn't in parentheses. See how this one was in parentheses? The negative was to the power. This negative is not to the power. It's not in parentheses. So it's 1 over negative, and the 4 is cubed, not the negative part. So you have 1 over negative 64, or negative 1 over 64. Okay, express using negative exponents. You'll change the sign of the exponent if you flip it, put this on top. It just changes the sign of it. So instead of being on bottom, we'll put it on top with a negative exponent. You don't have to evaluate it, it just says express using negative exponents. Still express using negative exponents because there's no new directions. So we're going to put this to the top and change the sign of the exponent. X to the negative 7th power. Okay, when we're multiplying and you have the same base, what do you do with your exponents? Multiple. You add them. So this will give, right here we have 3 to the negative 5 times 3 to the 8. So we're going to have 3 to the negative 5 plus 8. What's negative 5 plus 8? 3. So that's 3 to the 3rd power. And if you had actually multiplied it out, you'd get 27. So if you had multiple choice, you would have chose this, but I would accept either one of these answers if it's a fill in the blank. Because it does say simplify, so if you had actually multiplied it out, that would have been okay. Okay, here we have x times x to the negative 7. We're still adding exponents, right? Because it's multiplied. So you have x to the 1 plus a negative 7. We have negative 7 and positive 1. What's the exponent? What's 1 plus negative 7? Negative 6. And you could either leave it like that, or I guess since it says simplify, it'd be better to put it on the bottom and have a positive exponent. If you at least got that far, I would have still gave it to you though. Because it doesn't necessarily say it has to be positive. Okay, divide and simplify. When you're dividing, you have the same base. What do you do with your exponents?
Subtract.
Subtract. The top minus the bottom. Okay, so you have 2 minus 4 is what? Negative 2. To simplify that, you would put the T2 on bottom, 1 on top. 1 over T2. Okay? Number 15, if you have something with an exponent and then an exponent on the outside, you're multiplying the exponents, right? So you have 7. Let me make it a little bigger where it's easier to see. We're going to multiply negative 6 times 4, so we have 7 to the negative 24. To simplify that, you'd put 1 over 7 to the 24th power. Okay, we have another one with an exponent on the outside. Remember, it has to go to every term inside, or every, not term, every, I don't know, every single thing. Can't think of a word for it right now. The negative 2 will be to the 3rd power. The negative is also to the power, it's in the parentheses. So the negative 2 is to the 3rd power. When you do a squared to the 3rd power, that's going to give you a6, right? 3 times 2. So that would be a6. What will negative 2 to the 3rd power be? It will be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Okay, is the sign positive or negative? 3 negatives, so it's negative. Okay, so that's negative. Oh, this one, it didn't actually do it, huh? I would have taken either answer though, because myself I would have done that. So if you go farther than what my answer says, that's still good. Okay, number 17. Yep. The top and the bottom both go to that power. So the 2 goes to the third power, and the x goes to the third power. Okay, 2 to the third power, 2 times 2 times 2, so 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8 on top, and the x to the third power is on bottom. Number 18, write in scientific notation. Okay, remember you can only have one number in front of your decimal. To write this number in scientific, you need to put 8 point. There's a reviews right up here. So you need one number in front of your decimal. Write your other numbers. And then there will be a 10 power. Okay, the power on the 10 will be how many times you moved your decimal. If it's a big number, it will be positive, and if it's a small number, it's going to be a negative. So this is going to be a positive. And how far did we move our decimal? From here, we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 10 to the 5th power. Okay, we have to remember scientific notation, only one number in front of our decimal, and non-zero. So we've got to put 1.05. So we put our decimal here. We need our times 10. And since this is a small number, that was positive, this will be a negative, right? Negative power, how far did we move it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. Okay, convert to decimal notation. That means to make the whole number. Do you have a review?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay, convert this into a number. Look at our exponent here is a positive 7. I'm going to make it bigger so we can, in fact, since we need to move our decimal 7 times, I'm going to write it over here. We're going to be moving our decimal 7 times. It's positive, so it means it's a big number, not a small one. So to make it a big number, we're going to have to move it to the right. This is how many times? 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need to add 5 zeros because there's 2 numbers here. We needed 5 more numbers to move our decimal past. And that would put the comma here and the comma here. So 74,500,000. The next one has a negative exponent, so that means it's a small number. I could write here because we're going to be moving it the other direction. We're going to make it small. We're going to be moving it 4 times. So 1 here, we're going to have to add some zeros. 2, 3, 4. Add 3 zeros and start the number with a 0. Okay? Make sure you only moved it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. If it starts with a decimal, put the 0 in front. Number 22. You're dividing with scientific notation. Divide the number part separate and the base 10 separate. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Then you have 10 negative 2 over 10 9. Remember what we did? We subtracted. It had the same base. So we're going to do negative 2 minus 9. Do you have a review? you have a review?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, so we divided 6 divided by 3 is 2. And we did 10 minus negative 2 minus 9. Okay? The 2's fine like it is right now. 10, what's negative 2 minus 9? Negative 11. Don't forget to put the 10 here. Scientific notation always has a 10 there. Okay, this means 2 would have a decimal here. Is that good? You only have one number in front of the decimal, right? So you don't need to move it. But always check to make sure you only have one number in front of the decimal. This one, multiply 6.98 times 8.86. Yeah, what do you get? Okay, and then the 10 part, 10, remember when you multiply, a base times a base, you keep the base and add the exponent. So you have the base, add 3 plus 5, which is 8, right? Okay, I'll just write it as an 8. Do we have just one number in front of our decimal? No. So this is like a big number. We're having to change it back to a smaller number for scientific notation. We will be adding. We have to move it once. We have to add 1 when we move it. So now we have 6.184. It doesn't say how far to go. So it doesn't matter how far you go with that. I'm not going to count it off if you moved it farther than the answer sheet says. 8 plus 1 is 9. So you had 3 plus 5 here was 8. When we moved it 1, it added 1. Okay, evaluate the polynomial. For this polynomial, for x equals 3. So you've got negative 6x squared plus 5x minus 1. Where the x's are, we're going to put 3. So negative 6. I'm going to put parentheses everywhere and just put the 3's there. Negative 6 times 3 plus 5 times 3 minus 1. Negative 6 times 9, negative 54, plus 15 minus 1. So what's negative 54 plus 15? Negative 39, and then minus 1. Negative 40? Okay. Identify the terms of the polynomial. Each one of these is a term, and keep the sign with it. So you got 4x to the 4th. The next term, put a comma. It's negative 6x squared. The next term is negative 2x. The next term is negative 1. So when you're identifying the terms, you're pretty much just putting commas between each one of these. Each one is a term. Identify the coefficient of each term. The coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So you've got a negative 8 coefficient, and you've got a negative 2 coefficient. So it's negative 8 and negative 2. The term has the whole thing. The coefficient's just the number part. Collect like terms. These are like terms. So you add the coefficients. Negative 3 to negative 6 is a negative 9 of that term, of that variable. So you you got negative 9m cubed. 28. Arrange in descending order. That means you're going to put your variables in descending order. The x to the 6, and then if there was an x to the 5, you put it next. So 5x to the 6 will be the first term. So these are definitely wrong. X to the 6, the next lowest one, or the next highest one, I'm sorry, is 4x to the third power. Next highest is x squared, then the x, then the negative 9. So you've got to the 6th power, and then to the third power, then squared, and then the x, and then the number. That's descending order. Okay, the next one is collect like terms. They all have x to the 7th. So you add all the coefficients. 8 plus 7 is 15 minus 5. 8 plus 7, 15 minus 5 is 10. 10x to the 7th. Identify the degree of each term and the degree of the polynomial. The degree is the exponent here. This degree is 2. This degree is 1. This degree, your variable would be to the 0. And the degree of the polynomial would be the highest degree. So this is the degree of each term. The degree of the polynomial is the biggest one, 2. So it's 2, 1, 0, and then 2. Identify the missing terms. Okay, you have an x to the third power. You don't have an x to the squared power, which is the second power. You don't have an x term. You do have an x to the 0 power. So these are the 2 missing terms. The 2 that would be in between there. Okay, 32. Write the polynomial in 2 ways with the missing terms and then in space for them. Okay, you have x3, you don't have an x2, you don't have an x, and then you put the plus 6. That's writing it with the missing terms, and this would be writing it with a space, leaving a big space in between. So this is it right here. Identify the polynomial as a monomial, binomial, trinomial, or none of these, and give its degree. So you have to say what it is first. There's only one term. Monomial is 1, bi is 2, tri is 3. Okay, one term, so it's a monomial. What is the degree? The exponent, 2. What kind of term is this? Trinomial. And what is its degree? The biggest exponent, 4. Okay, multiply. You're going to do the 2 times the 4. 2 times 4 is 8. M4 times M3, M7. Okay, this one you're going to multiply negative 9. You're going to do it times both terms. So first, negative times, negative 9 times negative 6x. Negative times negative is positive. 9 times 6 is 54. And don't forget the x. And then now we're going to do negative 9 times positive 12. Negative times positive is negative. 9 times 12. 108. And that's it. Okay. now we have 2 times 2. Binomial times a binomial. This one you need to multiply it like what it's called FOIL, or you could just be doing the first term times both of them and the second term times both of them. Okay, first times the first one, 3x times x is 3x squared. Times the second one, 3x times 2, positive 6x. And then you're going to do the second term times both of them. Negative 12 times x minus 12x, and then negative 12 times 2, negative 24. You can combine those two middle terms. So you have 3x squared, positive 6, negative 12x, minus 6x. And then bring your negative 24 down. Okay. This one you're going to do the first one times all 3 terms, and the second one times all 3 terms. Do you need a thing to take a test or something?
No, I don't want to talk to you.
Okay. First one times all 3 of them, 6p times 36p squared. 6 times 36, 216, and then p times p squared is p to the 3rd power, right? I'm going to get another paper to write this up because it's going to be longer than we've been doing the rest of them. So we have 6p minus 1 times 36p squared plus 6p plus 1. Okay, 6p, that was 216 p cubed. Now we're going to do 6p times 6p plus 36p squared, right? P times p. 6 times 6, p times p. Now we're going to do 6p times 1 plus 6p. Okay. Second term times all 3. Negative 1 times 36p squared. Negative 36p squared. We're going to put it under here. So we'll collect like terms easier. Negative 1 times 6p. Negative 6p. Negative 1 times 1. Negative 1. These cancel. Those cancel. So you have 216. Wow, you can't see all of it, can you? Sorry. 216, those cancel, so you have 216p cubed minus 1. Okay? And that's not going to be multiple choice, so you just have to come up with it. Okay, the next one, 3x plus 2 and x plus 5. Okay, 3x times x. 3x squared. 3x times 5 is 15x. Then we do the second one times both of them. 2 times x plus 2x. 2 times 5. And 2 times 5, I was thinking ahead, huh? Plus 10. Add the 2 middle terms. It's plus 17x. So we have 3x squared plus 17x plus 10. X plus 4, x minus 4. Okay, first times first, x squared. Outer terms, x times negative 4, negative 4x. Positive 4x. Positive 4 times x, positive 4x. Last times last, positive 4 times negative 4. Negative 16. Middle term cancels, you have x squared minus 16. 112 squared. That means you have to do it times itself, right? N plus 12 times n plus 12. So you have n times n squared, outer terms, 12 times n, inner terms, 12 times n, and then the last times the last, 12 times 12. Okay, this does not cancel. You have to add them together. 12 plus 12, 24n plus 144. N squared plus 24n plus 144. Okay, we're going to evaluate this polynomial for an x and a y. For x equals 2 and y equals 4. So x squared, I'm going to write with 2 parentheses, 2y squared minus 3xy. Now put your x's and y's in there. X is 2, and there's an x there. Y is 4. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 16, 32. 3 times 8, 24. 4 plus 32, 36 minus 24 is 12. Find the degree of the polynomial. That's the highest. Okay, this one is 6. This one is 4. This one is actually 5. You have a 4 and a 1. The degree is still the biggest one, which is 6. Collect like terms. That would be your x's here. So you leave the y by itself. Negative 4x minus 6x. Negative 4 minus 6. Negative 10x. Negative 10y minus 10x. Collect like terms. Z3s are alike. These are different. Put them in descending order. So we'll start with our Z3s. Negative 10 minus 3. Negative 13, Z3, and then we'll put the next one, the Z, and then the one with no Z at all. Okay? Now we're going to add. Okay, you can pretty much just take the parentheses off when you're adding. Everything's got the right sign in front of it. We're just going to add the t's, and we're going to add the s's. We might as well put them in alphabetical order. So we'll add the s's first. Let me make it a little bigger where it's easier to see. 15s plus 19t plus 13t minus 3s. And that's the same thing with the parentheses taken off. Okay, let's add the s's first. 15s and negative 3s. 15 minus 3, 12s. Okay, 19t plus 13t. 19 plus 13. 32t. It's as far as you can go. They're not like terms now. So you have 12s plus 32t. Okay, these are all addition right here. So just take the parentheses off. Okay? You have r plus 5s minus 1 plus 5r plus s minus 6. So rs, we'll start with the r. How much is that going to be? 6. 5 plus 1 is 6. How about the s's? 7. Positive 7, S. And then numbers, negative 7. And that's it. 6R plus 7X minus 7. Okay, 48. We have a subtraction. We need to leave it in parentheses till we change the sign. 5x plus 20xy minus 22y. That can have the parentheses off. We need to change this part. Minus 26xy. Get a little farther up. It's easier to see. Okay, change subtraction to addition. Change every sign in here. That way everything will have the correct sign to add them. Change it to addition, to the opposite sign, opposite, opposite. Now you can just add the like terms. What do you want to start with? We have x's, xy's, and y's. X by itself? Okay. 5 minus 28. Negative 23? X. Okay, well, xy, I guess, yeah. 20xy plus 26xy? Positive 46xy. How about the y's? Negative 11? Y. Okay. Negative 23x plus 46y minus 11y. Okay, multiply. We have p plus 11q times p minus 11q. P times p squared, the outside. You have negative 11 and the p times q. The inside term, positive 11, p times q. And then the last term times the last term. Positive times negative is negative. 11 times 11, 121. QQ is q squared. Middle term cancels out. So you have p squared minus 121 q squared. And you have division. 42 x to the 4th plus 30x divided by 6. You divide both of these by 6. 6 into 42, 7, x to the 4th. Well, let's just write it like this. Let's just divide them both by 6 like this. It'd be easier. Look more normal. 42 divided by 6 is 7. X to the 4th. 30 divided by 6 is 5x. Now I don't see any long division in there. Should we do a long division in case there's one on the test? How about one from your homework? Pick one that you had like missing terms. Like x to the 4th or something and then a number. Somebody give me one. There'll be a hard one, not simple. Look at one that you missed on your test and give me a hard one. Or on your homework. Number 43. Okay. There's no missing terms, but there's a lot of terms. You have 15x to the 3rd plus 8x squared plus 11x plus 12. You're dividing that by 5x plus 1. That wasn't enough homework. But it looks hard enough, right? Okay. Look at this term and this term. So you need 5 times 3 to get 15. And how many more x's do you need? get 3, you already have 1, you need 2 more. Multiply this times this, you get 3 times 5 is 15, x squared times x is x3. Okay, you need to do it times both of them, not just the first one. 3x squared times 1 is 3x squared. Okay, before you do anything here, we need to subtract this, right? We're subtracting, so you're adding the opposite and the opposite. Sorry. That way you don't mess up with your number here. 8 minus 3, 5x squared, bring the next one down. Okay, look at this and this. What do we need to multiply by to get that?
X.
Just x, right? A positive x. Or plus 1x, or just plus x. X times 5x is 5x squared. X times 1 is 1x, right? You can put the 1 or leave it off, it doesn't matter. We're going to be subtracting this. So add the opposite and opposite. So you have positive 11x minus 1x. 11 minus 1 is 10x. Bring your 12 down. Look at this and this. 5x times what is 10x? 2. Positive 2, right? 2 times 5x is 10x. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, we're subtracting. We move it up just a little bit. Okay, subtracting. So add the opposite and opposite. So positive 12, negative 2 gives you a positive 10. What do you do with the remainder? You put it over that, right? So plus 10 over 5x plus 1. Okay? Did you want to do one with the missing terms too? Yeah? Of course, just in case. Okay, let's do 27? 37. Okay. Number 37 has x to the 6th power minus 13x cubed plus 42. That's too easy. It looks hard, but okay. We'll do it. And then we're dividing it by x cubed minus 7. X to the 6th minus, we can leave some space, 13x cubed, and then plus 42. Because there's no 5, 4, or 2, 1 on your x's. We're dividing by x cubed minus 7. Okay, look at this term and this term. We need 3 more x's. X to the 3rd power, this times this is x to the 6th. That's just that. Now I need to multiply it times this one. You get negative 7x cubed. We didn't need these missing terms. So this is a minus here. Let's put it over here where we have it with the number. Okay, 13. So we need negative 7x cubed under the x cubed term. We're subtracting this. So add the opposite. Negative 13 and positive 7 is a negative 6. X cubed. We'll bring our 42 down. Okay, look at this and this. We need a negative 6. Negative 6x cubed. Negative times negative. Positive. 6 times 7 is 42. And that came out exact, so there's no remainder. Why don't we do number 33? 33 has missing terms that you need to actually put in there. You have x to the 5 plus over 1 over x plus 1. So you're doing this divided by this. So you have x to the 5 plus 1, you're dividing by x plus 1. Let's put our terms we don't need in there, or that we don't have, our missing terms. No x3s, no x squares, no x's, and we do have a 1. Okay. So x plus 1, what do we need? X to the 4th. X to the 4th times x is x to the 5. X to the 4th times 1 is 1. X to the 4th, right? Put your subtraction. Subtracting is adding opposite, opposite. So we have negative 1 x to the 4th. Bring our next one down. What do we need here? Negative x to the 3rd, or negative 1x to the 3rd. Okay, so negative x to the 3rd times x is negative x to the 4th. Negative x to the 3rd times 1 is negative x to the 3rd. Subtracting that changes it to adding the opposite and opposite. These cancel. 0 plus 1 is 1. One of these. 0x squares. So what do we need here? We need an x squared, don't we? We need 2 more x's. So that x times 2, x squared times x is x3. X squared times 1 is 1x squared. Where subtracting is adding the opposite, opposite. So this one is minus, right? Looking at this, we need an x, right? A negative x. Negative x times x is negative x squared. I didn't bring the next one down. I'm going to have to move this up. Okay. The x times x was a negative x times x is negative x squared. Let me make it smaller where we see the whole thing. Negative x squared, and then negative x times 1 is negative x. Subtraction is adding opposite, opposite. So 0x plus x is x. Bring our plus 1 down. To get x here, we just need 1 plus 1. 1 times x is x, 1 times 1 is 1. No remainder. So your answer is just this part up here. Okay, did you need another remainder one, or will that be good enough? You know, if there's a remainder, you just put the remainder over the part that's down here. Make sure to put it over the outside part that you divided by, if there is a remainder. Is there any of your homework ones you want me to do before? Yes? No?